All right, guys, welcome to our part 2 video here today for Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal sports bets on Patreon.com/BrockPage. And I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my safe and secure website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into our part 2 video. We're going to take a look at the Mariners squaring off against the Nationals Game 2. And that's going to be a 6:05 Eastern first pitch. Now, Seattle's minus $1.15 in Game 2, totals 9.5. Tommy Milone for the Mariners, Eric Fetty for Washington. Now, Fetty comes into today's ball game with a losing record and terrible numbers. He's got an ERA above 5 along with a 1.49 whip. The Nats are also playing their worst baseball in the nation's capital. These guys are just 14-31 in front of their home fans, and they're nearly 30 games below 500 for the entire season. They're taking on a red-hot Seattle club who won 8 straight, and they allowed only 2.1 runs a game during that winning streak. Tommy Milone's got a 3.60 ERA and a .70 whip through limited action. Meanwhile, as a whole, this Seattle pitching staff is in the top 5 in the league right now in fewest runs allowed. These guys are giving up only 3.8 runs a game. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, 6 out of Seattle's last 10 meetings with Washington did fall under the number. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. And as far as the Nats are concerned on the other side, they've gone 7-3 to the under in their last 10 this season. I'm going to lean towards Seattle minus $1.15 and the under 9.5 in Game 2. Next contest, Pirates, Marlins, 6:40 p.m. East. Miami's minus $1.80, total 7 runs. Pablo Lopez for the Fish, JT Brubaker for Pittsburgh. Now, Brubs is having one tough season thus far. He's just 2-8 on the year with a whip close to 1.50. The Buccos have also stunk like shit at the plate. They're scoring only 3.7 runs a game. And they're nearly dead last in the majors in team batting average. They're also going up against Pablo Lopez here today for Miami, who's been excellent this season. The righty's just a couple strikeouts shy of the century mark already. He's also got a sub-3 ERA. Now, Lopez also has an impressive 1.07 whip as well. As this Marlins pitching staff, they're amongst the better groups in the National League. They're actually in the top 10 in the entire bigs right now in opponents' team batting average. When it comes to the number in this one, Miami saw their last 4 straight at Lone Depot Park fall under the line. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Marlins minus 180 and the under 7. Next game, Reds, Yankees, 7:05 East. New York's minus 320, totals 9. Luis Severino for New York, Mike Minor for Cincinnati. The Minor's lost 6 games already through just 38 innings of work. He's currently got himself an ERA close to 7, along with a 1.42 whip. And despite their miracle win last night, the Reds are still playing some pretty bad baseball on the road. They've won just 15 out of 41 away games this year. And their lineup's in the bottom 5 in the majors in strikeouts per game. Now they're taking on Luis Severino here today, who's actually got a lot of strikeouts on the year himself. As a matter of fact, Sevy's just 6 strikeouts shy of 100. He's also got himself a whip of just 1.02. And even if for some reason Sevy ends up getting banged around here today, this Yankee lineup can certainly score with the best of them. They're leading the majors in scoring, home runs, and OPS. And of course, Aaron Judge, he's the league leader right now in home runs with 30 of them. Judge is also in the top 5 in RBI and OPS. Meanwhile, Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton, they have 22 home runs apiece themselves. When it comes to the scoring in this one, 7 out of Cincinnati's last 10 ball games fell under the number. They're also 7-1 to the under in their last 8 interleague contests on the road. Meanwhile, New York on the other side, they are 26-18 to the under at Yankee Stadium. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees -1.5 and the under 9. Next matchup, it is going to be Phillies Blue Jays 707 East. Now both teams are -110, totals 8. Zach Wheeler for the Titans, Ross Stripling for Toronto. Now Toronto just fired their head coach. A lot of teams always bounce back strong after that organizational change. So I wouldn't count Toronto out here today. And as a matter of fact, Ross Stripling has had a fairly good year for the Blue Jays. He's got a 3.34 ERA and a 1.16 WHIP. The Blue Jays also play their best baseball at home, and they have little problems getting on base. They're currently in the top 3 in team batting average, and they're led by Alejandro Kirk, who's hitting a club-leading .312 at the dish. Meanwhile, Vlad Guerrero is leading the organization in home runs and RBI. They're taking on a Phillies club on the other side who lost their last 3 straight, and they averaged only 2.3 runs a game during that stretch. Now, total-wise, Philadelphia is currently 24-19 to the over when they bat first. Meanwhile, Toronto is 25-19 to the over at Rogers Center. I'm going to lean toward Toronto -110 and the over 8 runs. Next game, Red Sox Rays 7:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is -180 at home, total 7. Shane McClanahan for Tampa Bay. Josh Winkowski for Boston. And even though Winkowski's run into some trouble, he still has 3 wins through 31 innings of work. This Bo Sox lineup is also very dangerous despite their current record. They're leading the majors in team batting average right now, and they're scoring nearly 5 runs a game. Rafael Devers leads the club in batting average and home runs. Rafi's hitting .326 at the dish right now with 19 homers. He's also in the top 5 in OPS. Meanwhile, J.D. Martinez and Xander Bogaerts, they're both hitting in the 300s as well. They're taking on a Rays club who's really struggled at the plate themselves. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in scoring, and they're also in the bottom 10 in team batting average. And when it comes to cashing in on the run line, well, these guys are just 20-24 against the number at Tropicana Field, so certainly struggling with that 1.5 at home. Now, total-wise, Tampa's gone 13-5 to the under in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, Boston is 12-6 to the under against the AL East on the road. I'm going to lean toward Boston +1.5, keeping this one close, and the under 7. Next game, White Sox Guardians, 7:10 p.m. East. Chicago is -115, totals 8 runs. Lucas Giolito for Chicago, Aaron Savali for Cleveland. And now Savali's been a shell of himself this season. He's got just 2 wins in 53 innings, along with an ERA above 6. Now the Guardians have also dropped 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they average only 2 runs a game in those losses. They're taking on Lucas Giolito here today, who's still been a strikeout machine despite a few rocky starts. Giolito's got 97 Ks on the year, along with 5 wins. Meanwhile, offensively, the White Sox scored 28 total runs in their last 4 victories. Now, Jose Abreu's leading the club in batting average. He's hitting just about 300 on the season. Meanwhile, Luis Robert, he's currently the team leader in runs batted in. Now, total-wise, Chicago went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, Cleveland on the other side, they are 10-6 to the under in their divisional home games. I'm going to lean toward the White Sox -115 and the under 8. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Dodgers Cardinals 7:45 East. The LA Dodgers are -160, totals 8 runs. Tony Gonsolin for Los Angeles, Adam Wainwright for St. Louis. And even though Wainwright's got some really good stuff, he's lost 7 games already. and he also has a losing record on the season. Now, the Cards have also struggled with Los Angeles in recent meetings. These guys averaged only 2.9 runs a game in their last 10 contests against the Dodgers. And speaking of the Dodgers, they have Tony Gonsolin on the bump here today. And this guy has been absolutely dominant. He's been virtually unhittable this year. Gonsolin's a perfect 11-0 on the season with a 1.62 ERA. Now, the righty's also got himself a whip of just .80. And if for some reason Gonsolin looks human today, just keep in mind he's backed by a Dodger lineup who can outscore just about anyone. These guys are currently in the top 3 in scoring, top 3 in OPS. Now, they're also led by Freddie Freeman, who's hitting a team-leading .311 at the dish. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts leads the organization right now in home runs. Mookie's actually hit 20 home runs on the year. Now, when it comes to the scoring, oddly enough, LA's gone 28-15 to the under when they bat first. And that's good for 65% in that particular category. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are 9-1 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers -160 in the under 8. Next ball game, it is going to be Orioles-Cubs, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Chicago's -135, totals 135. Chicago's -135, totals 8 runs. Justin Steele for Chicago, Spencer Watkins for Baltimore. And even though Watkins doesn't have electric stuff, he does give these guys chances to win ball games. And as a matter of fact, Watkins has just 1 loss through 47-plus innings. The Red Hot O's, they're also on a 9-game winning streak, and they average 5 runs a game during that span. Now, Austin Hayes leads the club in RBI with 45 of them. Meanwhile, Anthony Santander is the team leader in home runs with 15. They're taking on Justin Steele here today for Chicago, who's just 3-5 with an ERA above 4. Now, the lefty also has a 1.43 whip, and this Cubbies pitching staff allows more home runs a game than most teams in the National League. Now, one more thing to add here, guys. As a team, Chicago is currently on a 5-game losing streak, and they also dropped 7 out of their last 9. When it comes to the total, 6 out of Steele's last 9 starts did get over the number. They also went 6-3 to the over in their last 9 meetings with Baltimore. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. I'm going to lean toward the O's plus $1.15 in the over 8 runs. Next contest, it is going to be A's Rangers 8:05 East. Texas is -185, total 7.5. John Gray for Texas, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. And as good as Blackburn's been this year, this Oakland lineup can't hit for shit. They're also dead last in batting average, dead last in OPS. They're taking on Johnny Gray, who's been a strikeout machine. Gray's got 91 strikeouts on the season, along with a 5-4 record. And even if Gray sucks balls here today, he's backed by a Ranger lineup who loves to hit the long ball. These guys are amongst the leaders in the American League right now in home runs per contest. And they're led by Corey Seager, who's got 21 homers on the year. Meanwhile, teammate Adolis Garcia is right behind him with 15 home runs on the year as well. When it comes to the total, Johnny Gray saw 3 out of his last 5 starts fall under the posted number. Meanwhile, Oakland saw 7 out of their last 9 fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Texas -1.5 and the under 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Padres taking on the Rockies. And that's going to be a 8:40 Eastern first pitch in the Mile High City. San Diego's -175 on the road, totals 10.5. Joe Musgrove for the Pods, Chad Kuhl for Colorado. Now, Kuhl's got an ERA above 4 along with a 1.35 whip. The Rockies are also 10 games below 500, and their lineup's having a tough time hitting for power, which is especially surprising considering They play half of their games in that high elevation in Denver. But anyway, these guys are currently in the bottom 10 in home runs per contest. They're also taking on Joe Musgrove here today, who's 8-2 on the year with a 2.09 ERA. Now, Joe's also just 2 strikeouts shy of 100 for the season, and he also has a .93 whip. Now, the Pods also do the majority of their hitting and scoring on the road. Manny Machado's leading the club in batting average, home runs, and RBI. Meanwhile, Jake Cronenworth's right behind him with 45 runs batted in himself. When it comes to the total, 3 out of it, San Diego's last 4 road games fell under the number. They're also 22-12 to the under against the NL West. Meanwhile, Colorado's 62% to the under in their divisional contest themselves. I'm going to lean towards San Diego minus 175. And the under 10.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final free pick for the video. It is going to be Astros taking on the Angels. That's going to be a 9:38 Eastern first pitch. The LA Angels are minus 120, total 7 runs. Shohei Ohtani for Los Angeles. Christian Javier for Houston. Now, Javier's got a 3.01 ERA and a sub-1 whip. The righties also fanned 102 batters in just 74-plus innings. Now, as a team, the Astros won 8 out of their last 10 ball games, and they averaged nearly 7 runs a game in those victories. Yordan Alvarez is hitting a team-leading .306 with 26 home runs. Alvarez is also the league leader with a 1.058 OPS. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker and Jose Altuve have 34 home runs between the two of them. They're going up against a struggling Angels club who lost their last 5 straight, and they also dropped 9 out of their last 10. Now, the Angels are now starting to really struggle at the dish. They're striking out more times per contest than any other team in the majors. They also find themselves in the bottom 5 in team batting average. Now, total-wise, the Angels are 10-3 to the under against the AL West at home. Meanwhile, Houston's gone 17-6 to the under in their divisional road games. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Houston plus $1. And the under 7 runs. And with that, guys, that is going to do it for me. Now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. Give me Seattle minus $1.15, under 9.5 in Game 2. I like Miami minus $1.80, under 7. Give me the Yankees minus 1.5, under 9 runs. I also like Toronto minus $1.10, over 8. Give me Boston plus 1.5, under 7 runs. I also like the Chicago White Sox minus $1.15, under 8. Give me the Dodgers minus 160, under 8 runs. I also like Baltimore plus $1.15, over 8. Give me Texas minus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. I'm also leaning towards San Diego minus 175, under 10.5. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward the Astros plus $1 and the under 7 runs. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my safe and secure website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, you're going to get access to that membership every single day all the way through the end of July. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. Now, guys, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on patreon.com/BrockPage is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/rockpage.